And so the comedies became a big thing because people all of a sudden said, wait a minute, we are enjoying him also in a movie that is a comedy, not just to blow up the buildings and the people and all this kind of things. It is important that you play the parts that you are. I mean,
but how are you so self-aware of what you're standing as and how people perceive you?
Well, I know that I have a sense of humor. So therefore, I wanted to see that on the screen.
When you think of the greatest film actors of all time, we all think of the same handful of actors. Those who have been written about, theorized upon, and given awards for their work on a very small number of films. But what if I told you that I believe, alongside Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando, we should consider Arnold Schwarzenegger as a potential candidate?
Son of a bitch!
The arguments against this immediately pile up. He has no range, he always plays the same character, his reactions could be disingenuous.
Money!
He can't change his accent, his line delivery is inconsistent.
Is that guy cone of phrase?
But I think these criticisms of Schwarzenegger reveal a sort of cultural elitism, where we see certain kinds of films being considered less important than others. The kind of acting that wins awards and ends up on people's end-of-year best-of lists is actually quite limited. It's a form of acting in which the actor exposes himself emotionally or physically, and that deals with stories that are considered important for how they deal with historical situations, disabilities, or illnesses. You can trace this kind of acting that is in fashion today back to the work of theatre actor Konstantin Stanislavski. In his book Building a Character, Stanislavski outlines his theories of acting, encouraging actors to contort their bodies out of their natural states into other positions, to build characters from mannerisms like limps and lisps.
What have you been doing?
For Stanislavski, the perfect actor is a blank slate, someone who can erase his own personality and rebuild a character from that point through action. Stanislavski's method seeped into American acting, mainly through Stella Adler, whose acting school taught some of the most well-regarded actors in cinema history, and her contemporaries Sanford Meisner and Elia Kazan. Stella Adler was Marlon Brando's acting teacher, and Brando was the one who gave method acting in cinema its critical clout. From A Streetcar Named Desire onwards, it seemed anybody who claimed some sort of method training became critically adored, no matter how wooden their performances were, or how hammy.
You're tearing me apart! You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
The other kind of acting that gets praised by award givers and the public is movie stars doing serious roles. The term movie star, of course, has a rather broader definition, but it usually refers to people who make films in the less prestigious genres like action, romance, or comedy. Jim Carrey is an example of someone who wasn't recognized as a great actor for his comedic films, but as soon as he does a serious role, just how pitch perfect an actor he is becomes obvious to everyone.
Winning the Oscar is not the most important thing in the world. It's an honor just to be known. Oh, God.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is great for exactly the same reason that all the acclaimed dramatic actors were great. It's that they all have this intense personal energy that makes you want to watch them. If you think of these actors' best films, you can't imagine someone replacing them in those iconic roles.
He's fantastic. This is his best performance ever.
Even the films he appeared in that are not quite as great are still well known because of his starring roles in them. You watch them because Schwarzenegger has a screen presence all of his own, the same way you'll watch an average drama just because a great dramatic actor is starring in it. The only difference here is dramatic actors win prestigious awards, and actors in action movies don't. It was Stanislavski's belief that a great actor was somebody who could believably play any role, who would be able to vanish completely into a character and leave no trace of himself. But when you think about it, of all the great method actors, how many could really pull off comedy? Some can do it, but of those who clearly feel so ill at ease when they try comedic roles, we don't say they're bad actors because of it.
You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend.
Oh. Let's move on. Maybe Schwarzenegger isn't the best at doing emotional depth. But does that mean we should demean his achievements? Why is it we judge Schwarzenegger so much by what he can't do when we judge everyone else by what they can? It's the same thing that plagued Cary Grant throughout his career. As if an actor could have the leading role in so many brilliant films and not be a great actor. We deny the obvious greatness of an actor, label him as a star or an action hero or a comedian, and ignore their inherent brilliance. Pretend great acting is merely the domain of those who studied in serious acting schools. None of this is to say that actors shouldn't study the theory behind their craft. Schwarzenegger is actually a brilliant example of an actor whose acting ability improved before our eyes.
Once you get used to it, it's hard to give up.
Great actors are not born, but the energy great actors have can't be learned. The trick for actors is to know what kind of roles they will be suited for, to understand their own energy, to know what kinds of films would suit them, and to find the people making those movies. Sometimes it takes a long time for an actor to find his niche.
That's right.
That's not to say you can't branch out once in a while, but there's a reason Schwarzenegger never did Shakespeare.
To be or not to be? Not to be.
If we accept that Arnold Schwarzenegger could be one of the greatest actors of all time, then we break free of our limitations on how we judge great acting. Because if we judge every actor by the same standards, then we run the risk of confusing technique with talent. It's individuality that counts here, so let's give the greats of the past their dues. Those who may not have been diverse, but who were perfect for the characters they played. If we don't, we end up letting the gatekeepers decide what kind of movies get made. So don't wait for your invitation.
Sure. Here's my invitation.